time. So let's see.
Okay.
We're starting, and you are the one starting. So
I'm the one starting.
you will be the
Okay.
one starting. Yes.
Okay, let's see if
Okay.
I can get the hang of this.
Cool. So, Alexandre, since this is mainly like a board games channel, before we start going to your projects, what is exactly your connection with board games?
Well, I very much am into board games. I've played them with my father mostly for my whole life. My father is also a big gamer. He is in an association. It's called AJSP, which is Associação de Jogos de Simulação Portugal, which is the oldest wargaming
Wow.
association in Portugal. And I've always been there when I was a kid and playing with them. Although they play more like miniature games, like Napoleonics, like historical games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also very interested in that sort of stuff, but I'm more of a fantasy and sci-fi guy, and my father is more historical games. So when the shield is exactly the same colors as it was and whatnot. But we've always
So the dwarves and the elves.
Yeah, I'm more of a slaying dragons type.
Okay.
But I don't know. I've always been playing tabletop games and board games my whole life, and I have a bunch at home as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so maybe one day you can bring your father as well to the channel here for him to talk about his adventures on these tabletop RPGs or miniatures game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he played Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition or 1st edition or whatever it was in the 80s.
I played 2nd edition, so I don't think it's that old because I've played 2nd edition. I still don't understand how Taco works today, but could be interesting. You're about to launch this Kickstarter campaign for modular electronic app-controlled tabletop terrain system. Basically, it's a physical setup that people can use on their Dungeons and Dragons campaigns.
Yes.
With special effects.
We talk about Dungeons and Dragons because it is the more common one, and it is designed kind of with Dungeons and Dragons in mind. But if you have any other sort of dungeon crawling system where you have to build a dungeon and play on it, you absolutely can do it with this game. It's not tied to Dungeons and Dragons. However, However, for example, on the app that we have for it, we sort of made it so when you can create characters on the app as well, and it has all the sort of Dungeons and Dragons basic systems, like you can write your class and your level and your HP and whatnot. Maybe there are other systems that don't use those terminologies, but I think since it is the most common game and it is what most people will use it for, we wanted to have that. Eventually, maybe we can have it so it is editable. So when you create your character, you choose the names of the things that you're quantifying. But it's something we're working on. But the project itself, it is a modular tabletop RPG terrain that you can basically manipulate like it was a Lego or something like that. You can build it however way you want. It is all fully magnetic, and it is controlled by an app. That was the main thing that wanted to make difference. So what it does is you can, as a game master, have the whole game organized and mapped on the app. So whenever you want to, for example, start a smoke machine, open a secret door, reveal some sort of light effect. For example, you enter a boss room and you want all the lights to turn on at the same time. Just click a button on the app and that happens. So it's a sort of a way that we found that because with the ascension of online role-play games and the way that people have been using Foundry and Roll20 for a long time, we sort of feel that more and more people are playing away from the table. So we wanted to give something that is modern, has modern technology to it, but keeps players on the table, because playing RPGs in person is very, very different from playing it online. And we've always strived to make it so that everyone wants to how should I say this? That people can gather around the table and have fun and not worry about, I'm looking at my phone, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, while we're playing the game. We wanted something that would keep players immersed in the game. And so this map, once it's on the table, it catches players' attentions.
Yes,
right?
everyone will be focused on what's happening there. And
Yeah.
So that's how you want players to feel, players and game masters to feel when they use the abandoned keep in a session. Is like that focus of attention for everyone.
Yes, a focus of attention and that kind of a wow factor of okay, what's happening next? Because you don't really need to build the whole map and then keep revealing it one space at a time. The game master can build it as they go if they want, because it's very easy to build. It's something that's very quick. If you want to go into all the electronic stuff, it might take a bit longer because you have to pass some cables under the map and whatnot. But if you want to just build a normal map and just make, okay, here's the room. Now you open the door. Now I'm going to put the other room there. That's super easy, and you do it in less than 5 minutes.
Okay.
So it's very, and it's also vertically easy to build as well. So when you're, for example, going into a second floor, players find some stairs and whatnot, you can build the second floor without destroying the first one. And that's also something that was very important to us.
By the way, I've left the link in the video description for the campaign and for more information, images and videos about this product. But if you buy it, how many pieces of terrain are we talking about, just for people to have an idea?
So, for example, we have different pledge levels, as you'd imagine. So we have the smaller pledge level. It will be enough for sort of two small rooms that connect with each other.
But it's like dungeon environment, right? Always dungeon environment.
Yes. For this project in particular, we wanted to make kind of a castle feel, like abandoned ruins, or we call it the abandoned keep. But really, you can use it for ruins or inside of a tavern, or you can make it so it is a temple or something like that. It's interior, but the floor, for example, is reversible. One side is stone, the other side is wood. So you can make sort of different ambience with it. And we also have some decorations like tables and armor stands or treasure chests and whatnot. So you can kind of populate your dungeon however you want. And in the future, we want to go into different biomes and maybe make a cave system or things like that. And really go into how modular this can be with different sort of themes. But for this one, because it's the more common one and the simplest one for us to do as a first-time company doing this, we wanted to keep it simple as a dungeon, like a more generic dungeon that people can use in more games. So it's not something that you play once and then put it away.
Eventually, you will end up in a dungeon, a castle, a tavern. So it's the most used environment for sure.
Yeah.
So you mentioned as well that this is your first campaign. You want to see how it goes, the success, and then you will think of eventual other biomes, as you mentioned. So far, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned from preparing this Kickstarter campaign?
Well, for one, managing expectations about timelines. We thought we would be ready for this campaign in around September of last year. So it's been a while, but we're a group of friends now. I didn't know much of the people that I'm working with right now when I started this project. I just played D&D with one of them, and then they invited me into the project because of my painting, mostly because I paint the models for Age of Sigmar and for D&D and whatnot. So they knew I could paint, and they invited me into it for that reason. And now, since then, I've evolved to be the art director for the whole project. But it's a very demanding environment, Kickstarter, in which I didn't know that you have to spend a lot of money on ads and do a lot of publicity. It doesn't grow organically as well as we'd like. So people have to see your project if they've never heard about you. You have to pay for ads so people can get to know it, right? So, and this was something that we really didn't know how much that was going to cost when we started. Well, now we do, and it's a lot, but it's been fun, and I've really enjoyed it so far.
Okay. So I hope also this video reaches out to people while the campaign is happening, at least upon release. And who knows, eventually, if you're watching the video later on and you're interested, there may be eventually more projects from the same team. So it's just a matter of reaching out and see, or clicking and see what's happening at the moment. Okay. So I wish all the success for this campaign.
Thank you,
Alexandre. And I'm just looking here at the game, and we are also close to the end. This is going to be the last round. I've triggered it. So let's see how it unfolds. So I'm just going to pick this yellow one here and try.
Let's see. I'm not sure how your game is. I'm confident in mine.
Well, we are very paired when it comes to scoring, so it's going to be the final score that's going to dictate everything. So I'm just going to pick these black ones before you steal them. Okay. I can still do my magic with any of those that you left me. So, there's a second layer of this game, Alexandre, which is when you stop playing your own game and you play the anti-game, which is stealing from other people's what they do.
I saw what you did there, taking the only pieces that I could use.
So, but it's a matter for another day, right? For you to think about. Okay, let's see. Final scores now.
We'll see.
I
think this will be closer than the other one.
Some negatives for me. Now you have everything more packed in the middle, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Now the bonus points for the rows and the columns and the colors, and you have 2 columns there. Okay,
hey, 4 points.
4 points. Wow! Congratulations, Alexandre. Really, really close. So it's almost a tie. Thank you. I hope you have enjoyed. Before we end this conversation today, I always like to ask for the guests if they could recommend me someone that could be an interesting future next guest, someone with an interesting project, story, profile. Who would you like to recommend?
Maybe Diogo Morgado. I've worked with him before, and I know he's very much into also these geek themes that we talk about on this channel. And maybe you should give him a call, see if you can reach out to him. Maybe he'll take up the challenge. Maybe I'd like to recommend as well Afonso Molinar. I don't know if you've heard about him, but he's spearheading a project called Teatro à Espada. And they also have one which is Teatro à Faca. But so basically it's a project where they are doing live plays, playing Dungeons and Dragons in front of an audience.
Challenge accepted. Alexandre, thank you for having the time to speak to me today. And again, everyone, for all the projects that we've spoken about, I've left the link in the video description. If you want to deep dive, reach out to Alexandre as well, or just connect and see where the conversation goes. Okay. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much. See you around. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you. Goodbye.